So that, yeah, this is bringing the ancient stories into the modern world.
So the movie is going to be filmed in?
We're going to film it in Texas. There is a set, it's a movie set, that was originally built by John Wayne for the Alamo movie in 1959, but there's a whole area that looks like a biblical area. I think it's supposed to be a Mexican village, but it's a large set, and we can dress it up to make it to Jerusalem and to Odessa. So I've seen, I haven't been there myself, but the director and producer have gone there, and they filmed several movies there, so they're very familiar with the set. And based on the recent video footage and photographs I've seen, I think it's ideal for us to be able to shoot there.
And who's going to play the role of the king?
Okay, the king, we're going to have an Assyrian American in that role. But Billy Haydu, Billy Haydu is a film producer. He's made several movies in Assyrian. I think he's made 3 movies. And he's just shown them in yes, so he's going to be a producer in this film, and I think he has somebody lined up for King Abgar, but I'm not. We have to raise the funding for the film. That's where everything's lined up. Once we get the financing, we need $120,000, and then we'll shoot the film. Yeah, once we get the money, then Billy's going to call these actors and get them fill the roles. But what I want. I'm glad to have Billy Haydu and his friend Vincent Shade and Martin Koshaba. They're going to be our Assyrian production team. I'm very happy to have them involved. But my goal is to have an Assyrian production team, and I want to fill 6 roles as Assyrian Americans in those roles. And of course, Chuck Walker is the director, and Sam Cable. They made several movies, and they have all kinds of actors. So we'll use a lot of their actors, but for a lot of the important roles, I want to designate them specifically for Assyrians.
I wanted to ask if you could say something about the main actor, Saint Thaddeus.
Saint Thaddeus will be portrayed by Lorenzo Lamas. Right now we can show, I guess, our first video clip where Lorenzo Lamas is going to talk about his excitement for the project.
Okay. So. Sounds good. So we're going to go watch we're going to show the first video about Lorenzo Lamas.
Hello, I'm Chuck Walker. I'm the writer-director of Walker Cable Productions, kind of the creative head. We've done a lot of movies in the last 25 years in a lot of genres. Action, adventure, westerns, family films, horror films, intrigue, suspense, drama, romance, you name it. But we're especially excited about the Acts of the Apostle Thaddeus. We anticipate that the movie will be shot at the historic Alamo Village. Of course, that's the set built by John Wayne for the historic movie The Alamo. It might seem kind of like an odd choice for a biblical epic, but actually the Adobe infrastructure and architecture is exactly perfect for what we need for this movie.
Hello, my name is Stephen Missick. I'm the screenwriter for the movie project we're working on, the Acts of the Apostle Thaddeus. This tells the story of Thaddeus, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. It's based on the writings of the early church fathers, and I think this is a very unique story that's never been told before on film. It's also particularly relevant because it tells the story of the Assyrian people, and now we see the Assyrian people in danger because of the rise of ISIS and the persecution of Christians.
We're also very excited to have a good friend play the title role in this movie, Lorenzo Lamas as Thaddeus.
I am Lorenzo Lamas, and I'm thrilled to be working on Thaddeus, the new Walker Cable production. These are terrific guys and a wonderful production company that I've had the pleasure of working with many, many times in the past. So if you have an opportunity to invest in a Walker Cable production, don't hesitate. You will not regret it. So I'm excited about being a part of this Christian movie. I think it's an important time for our society to embrace the Christian faith. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
We're excited about your interest and your involvement in our project, and we hope to see you on the set.
Lorenzo Lamas, he's the son of Fernando Lamas, who was a big mover and shaker and actor in Hollywood in I guess the 50s and 60s and 70s, and this is his son. And Lorenzo has had a very successful career in movies and in television. He was played a major role in Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and he was in several TV series. He was in soap operas, but his big claim to fame was in the 90s. He was in a very successful television show called The Renegade, where he played a cop turned like bounty hunter type thing. Very, very successful. That was probably the high point of his career. He is in the television version. There's a Mel Gibson movie called Air America, and he played I guess the same role in a television series by the same name. So he's on Celebrity Apprentice, and his autobiography just came out last month. And his father raised him, in the church, some type of Protestant church. But if you saw the video, I was kind of surprised that he said this. He says, I think that I'm happy to make a Christian movie, and America needs, at this time in our nation's history, we need a Christian faith. And it's like, well, amen, Lorenzo Lamas. He had his wild youth, but now he's really turned again to traditional values and that moral structure that was instilled in him by his father.
What about location? You said the location will be in Texas.
Yeah.
And we have a video on that one as well.
Right. Well, you can watch the video, and we'll see the video, and you'll see. If you look at the video, you'll see that this is a nice location. It's historic. It's been used not just for the Alamo movie, but other series like the Lonesome Dove series. All kinds of westerns were filmed there. So this is a location that was built specifically as a movie set. And I saw the documentary Making the Alamo, and like these interiors, they made these sets. Instead of filming in the studio, they made it where they could film these interiors on the set. So it's specifically built for filming movies on. So it's going to work really good for us. And you just watch the video yourself, and you can see that this is a good set that looks really like Bible lands.
What about costume? You have a costume designer.
Yes, well, I have acquired several costumes. This is kind of very interesting, but recently there was the Dwayne Johnson Hercules movie, and I went on eBay, and they're getting rid of a lot of their costumes from that film, and I bought them at a low.
Oh, you bought them?
Yeah, I bought them at low prices. So I got screen used film costumes from Hercules, from the TV series Rome. Spartacus, the TV series. So yeah, I got a lot of screen used costumes, and these are good costumes or quality and used in movies before. And we have a young woman named Tia, and she has a lot of experience in doing costume design for theater, and she's going to supplement the costumes we have by making her own, so that we have plenty of period costumes for the movie.
Hello, I'm Stephen Missick. I'm the screenwriter for this upcoming movie project we're working on, The Acts of the Apostle Thaddeus. And while we're developing this film, there's several important things for making a good film. One is location. We have an excellent location, Alamo Village. But another thing is costumes. And I think it's important that we have good, realistic, authentic costumes. So I've been able to acquire screen-used costumes from various movies, from the HBO's Rome, from the Stars Spartacus, and several costumes from the recent Dwayne Johnson Hercules movie. That these are screen-used costumes that we're going to use in our film. But we have to supplement that, and so we have here our costume maker and designer, Tia. Tell us about yourself, Tia.
Hi, my name is Tia Louie, and I am the costume designer for this upcoming project about Thaddeus. And I have a little experience designing costumes just in high school shows.
Tell us what you've done before.
I've done the 1920 show Thoroughly Modern Millie. It's a musical. And I've also had experience with the works of Euripides with Trojan women.
So you've done something that's set in the ancient past before. So how long have you been doing this, working as a seamstress and making costumes and wardrobe?
I've been sewing since 4th grade, actually. But I just recently started designing in 9th grade.
So you design your own wardrobe and costumes and dresses, but you also make several too, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll see some of the work you've done before. So, what do you feel about doing actually a movie, a biblical movie?
It's really exciting for me, especially since I'm only in high school. It's a great opportunity. I'm really excited to be a
So,
part.
we might get to dress Lorenzo Lamas, who's going to be playing our lead as the Apostle Thaddeus. So I've been trying to, we're going to get some material so you can look and research the period and do it.
Okay.
So, all right. So this is Tia. She's going to be working on our costumes and our wardrobe. It's good to have her as part of our team.
Perfect. And so we have the, and who's going to play the role of Queen?
Linda George, the famous, internationally famous Assyrian singer, and I've heard of her. I met was it Juliana. I met her before. I never met Linda George. I'll meet her on the set, but I have heard of her and I've listened to her music. And she does secular music, but she's always done Christian and church music throughout her career. So obviously she's a committed member of the Church of the East, and she's very she worships through her music, and she's a very beautiful singer, and she's going to play the role of the queen, the wife of King Abgar.
So now we've got the king, we've got the queen, we've got St. Thaddeus, we've got location, we've got costume design. What do we need?
We need $120,000 so we
I
could.
think that was the punchline of the
Right. Everything's ready to go. Once we raise this money, we'll be shooting.
So I know the church is behind the film, and it's really important for this film to be.
Well, the church is in principle. I've, as the diocesan bishop here in California, I've written a letter of endorsement for the project. But again, in theory, the church as a whole, of course, supports it because it's it's narrating the history of the Assyrian Church of the East, and it's not just the history of the Assyrian Church of the East. Really, it's the history of the Assyrian people, the beginnings of Christianity in Assyria, or what was the remnants of ancient Assyria. And I think that should touch the heart and the feelings and the sentiments and the emotions of everyone who is Assyrian, who's a true Assyrian, and I think it ought to move them to not just donate money. It's not just about the donation, but really to want to be a part of this project. Donation is a way that they can do that, is a way that our people can do that. And I would like to strongly urge our Assyrian people to help this project in any way they can. And the good work that people such as Stephen are doing, who, though not an Assyrian by ethnic background, but who appreciates the Assyrians and their history and their Christian history. I think that's very precious. That's something that's priceless.
Now, can we have the church can have a budget or a project or a fund or an account where people can donate to the church in support of the movie, and then.
Well, because the movie's not being produced by the church per se, I would urge all of our viewers to donate directly to the project. And I think, Stephen, maybe you should speak about how or where those donations can go to.
Okay.
You have that information more than I would.
Yes.
I have a blog called Aramaic Herald where I talk about like biblical studies in Aramaic language, the history of the Church of the East. I put a lot of information about the crisis with ISIS and how people could help. I made sure that was on the blog. But now the blog is focusing on the making of this movie, and there are ways they could give. They could send. I have St. Thaddeus Productions LLC, and they could send a check. Just P.O. Box 882, Shepherd, Texas, 77371. But Billy Haydu's also collecting funds for the movie. And if you go to the blog, you can see the way you can get a hold of Billy Haydu and send funds to him if they feel more comfortable doing that. But they could just send it to me and put it in the account. And once we have the money, it's all going into the film.
Actually, A&B is definitely supportive of this movie. We've been interviewing various different. We interviewed you several times, and interviewed Billy Haydu, and we'll be interviewing Linda George, and of course Morava is here to support the film. So we're behind the film, and we really want to make it happen. Now we just have to come up with the funding, which I don't think $125,000.
$120,000.
That's that's
It
peanuts.
shouldn't
For a
be a
movie,
problem.
that's
It shouldn't be a
should
problem.
not be a problem.
And the important thing to remember, Romena, is that this is the first film that Stephen is preparing, and the one on St. Thomas, which I'm also looking forward to, which also is a part of the Assyrian Church of the East history, and a part of a number of other Christians, ancient Christians, who are known as the Christians of St. Thomas, the Christians of southern India. This will be of great importance for them as well. So it's far-reaching. It's
With the Christians in southern India, the St. Thomas Christians, they were part of the Church of the East until the Portuguese came in and kind of severed that relationship, unfortunately.
1499.
And then, however, we have Mar Occam. George Mokum is originally before he became
Metropolitan Model.
Yeah, he's in Trichet, in India. There's a huge St. Thomas community which reconnected with the Church of the East. So there's a large, substantial St. Thomas Assyrian Christian community in India. And of course, if we make this movie, obviously we'll be able to springboard off of that and to do Thomas. And it's Thomas and Thaddeus are the founders of the Assyrian Church of the East. So it's like one continuous story.
As a last question, actually, this to Marava, is if we can explain to our people why, the question people keep asking me actually when I try to promote the film, that, well, we have Syrians in Iraq and Syria, they're struggling and they need money. Why should we invest money in a film where we can send it to Iraq or Syria? So, if you would elaborate on that.
Well, Romena, I think it's a legitimate question to ask that, especially because the need in Iraq and Syria and other parts where our Assyrian Christians are, and other Christians that speak our language, are present and undergoing the many sufferings that we all are aware of. Christ said that the poor will always be among you. And this has been a part of our nation's and our church's history for the past many decades, if not centuries. So this is a reality that we live with. And many organizations, beginning with the church and other organizations, are doing their best to help. The need is very great. I was speaking with a few people in the Assyrian community who are working on the more national end of things. And, some estimates have come in, some numbers that say that the need is about $9 a day per head. And multiply that by 120, 150,000 people. That's a huge sum. But to make a film and to support a film like the one on the history of St. Thaddeus, and the beginnings of Christianity in Assyria, is important in order to let the Western world know what is the history of these people in the Middle East who are suffering. Something that Stephen mentioned at the beginning of the interview was that the outlook on Christianity and the manuals of church history and what we hear in the news is very Eurocentric. It seems as if Christianity is a European or Western religion. Well, it's not. And that's something that we as Assyrians, as Christians who are living in the diaspora, the countries outside of our homeland, need to educate and to make aware to the greater public, to all of our Western non-Assyrian friends, that look, these people, this is their history. Christianity is 2,000 years old. It comes from the apostles of Christ. So our communities that are suffering in the Middle East have been suffering since time immemorial, since the time of Christ. So it's mostly to bring that awareness out to the West. And that's important because when you have large churches, large humanitarian organizations, charitable organizations, which see a film like the Acts of Thaddeus and see that, no, Christianity among the Assyrians and among the Christians that speak this language in the Middle East is as old as Christ and the apostles themselves, then they come to realize really what the role of the West is in order to help our people out in the Middle East. And I'm not speaking politically, but humanitarianly, charitably, in terms of many needs that our people have. This will bring about awareness, and that's very important. And I think this is the calling, this is the vocation of ourselves as Assyrians living in the diaspora. This is a very important enterprise that we really need to engage in.
And also, I'm a doctoral student. I've attended seminary. To be a chaplain, you have to have a master's degree in theology. So I got my master's degree at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, but now I want to get a doctorate in ministry. I'm going to a school called Houston Graduate School of Theology. And my doctoral project, which will be like a thesis, is about engaging the evangelical churches to give aid to Assyrian Christians who are suffering the refugee crisis. So my doctoral project is going to do what I can to get American Christians to help the Assyrian people out now. So hopefully within the next year and a half, I'll be launching that project. So I'm doing what I can too. I'm making the movie.
That's wonderful. It's just beautiful.
And the project's been approved. And I just wrote just last week I turned in the prose proposal for it. They approved the outline, so I think this is going to go forward.
Well, thank you very much for your efforts.
Well, just pray that God would bless it, and I'll be effective. And when it's all over, I'll be Dr. Missick.
We'll call you doctor.
That means we're going to have more work to do, by the way.
Well, but thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure being with you and Stephen. And again, I'd like to reiterate to all of our Assyrian friends and viewers to please help this movie in any way they can, particularly in a financial way, because that's what this movie needs in order to get on its feet. And I'm sure that many good fruits will come about because of it, to bring about awareness, as I mentioned, to Western, to European churches and organizations and peoples. That's what we need to do, we who are in the diaspora.
In conclusion, I think that this will really help the Assyrian community in various levels. One, it'll, like Mara was saying, it'll create awareness to the Western world who the Assyrian people are, and having a recognized actor, in the role of Thaddeus, because he's got big name recognition. But it's going to give Billy Haydu and Vincent Shade and Martin Koshaba the opportunity to produce this film, and these Assyrian American actors. So this is really an opportunity to give them the opportunity to work with Lorenzo Lamas, and so they can learn. This could be launching Assyrian's career to better the whole community. So it's I think giving them an opportunity to get the word out about the Assyrians, but also maybe these Assyrians will be able to start a career in filmmaking. So I think it's a great opportunity. And if people feel led to give this project, also it's educational, it's cultural, it's ecumenical, and it's evangelistic. It's about the message of Jesus Christ. Jesus said in the Gospel of John, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. The message of love, compassion, forgiveness taught by Jesus is the theme of this movie. So if you feel led to give, P.O. Box 882, Shepherd, Texas 77271.
I'm sure the address is going to be on the screen somewhere.
Yes, we're going to put that on the screen. Well, Stephen, thank you very much for coming here. Next time I'll see you, I probably will call you Dr. Missick. And good luck with the film.
Thank you.
Kazan mo bebe, hindi ka mo balo po na program, mas malo po support po na aftermath, bimon amon, kuze, kushum siya.